What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ball to Bowl series. As y'all know by now, Ball to Bowl is an opportunity for me to sit down with real men, have real conversations about the ups and downs of the hair loss journey. And today, nothing is different. I got a special guest with me, one of my dogs from way back in the day in Raleigh, North Carolina. We've been kicking it since middle school. Got my boy Justin Judd with me. Hey, Judd, talk to the people. Give them a quick intro, family.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Justin Judd, born and raised in Raleigh. Man, it's been like 30 years here. Then like last year and a half, kind of been sticking and moving. You know, was in D.C. for a little bit. Now I'm down in Georgia. So, yeah, man, just happy to be here. You know, always good to be around good people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we go way back, like you said, to middle school and such. So, yeah, it's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Just, you know, blessed.
The thing is, like Judge said, we go way back, man. I ain't going to get too much into this because we'll get too derailed. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, me and Jay used to hoop back in the day. He still may hoop. And I will say today, you gave it up?
Yeah, I gave it up, bro. I hurt my knee back in like February, and then I just turned to straight country, man. I'll be out there hunting deer and stuff now.
I did see that on the grid.
That's my new sport. You know what I'm saying? I sit in trees now, be posted up.
I did see that on the grid, man. Okay, I won't. Judd don't hoop no more, so I'm not going to take us down that alley because, you know, it don't make sense on this podcast right now. But we did come up hooping and stuff like that, middle school, high school, all through the days or whatever, man. Before I dive too deep into this, man, I got to get this off my chest before we get too deep into the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, my beard game has improved a lot over the last couple years. I get compliments all day about my beard. Jug gonna pull up on the podcast today and stun on my beard. Y'all know I don't like that. Y'all know I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this was my year. I was like rookie of the year in the beard game this year. And I ain't gonna say I was an all-star. I was like rookie of the year. I was like, yo, Paulo Banchero, this was my year to come out.
Yeah,
you know, people be hollering at me, shorties be like, yo, did your beard? Like, I've been getting comments on the beard. Judd, you pull up more like, you know, all-star level type of beard. You know what I'm saying? We talking, you know, Giannis type level. We talking Luka Doncic. Talk to the people about the beard game. Because, you know, I ain't gonna lie. I've been peeping it for a while. Like, damn, Judd beard kind of like glowed up crazy. But before you even came home, you had both for a little while, right? You had the hair and the beard.
Yeah.
Did your dad got a crazy beard? Did you know it was going to play out like that?
Pops had a crazy beard back in the day. Like, it's crazy, like, just looking at pictures of, like, the age I'm at now, you know what I'm saying, 32, you know what I'm saying, we look just alike.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? But, like, his beard, you know what I'm saying, was full or whatever and all that. So, I mean, just over time, bro, like, I done had it for a good little minute. And I done cut it a few times or whatever. I ain't never cut it back against the face. I couldn't go all the way back. It was like, you know, once it, you know, came in full, everything connected, it didn't want on the Anthony Hamilton vibe. I was just like, I like it here. You know what I'm saying? I like the attention I get from it, so it's cool. But, you know, I knew the top was going to lead me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, like, when I had the combo, it was nothing more elite than, you know what I'm saying, you get the beard lined up, you get the fade, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
I never seen it, though, Judd. Like, I never seen it personally for me.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't in the cars for a nigga like me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't have the whole thing. You were blessed to see that for a little while. And I always say, like, you know, God don't give man too much power. Like, you know what I'm saying? He let you taste it for a little bit.
For sure,
but you know what I'm saying? He knew how much power it was to have that kind of, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say Judd is an irresponsible guy, but the Lord knew. You can't give this man too much power.
Sure.
So he had to take it away, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
We'll get into that whole story in a second, man. Before we dive into that, though, like I said earlier, bro, like, we both from the city. Both came up in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yep.
And if you came up in the city, you know what that means. There's a sense of pride coming up in Raleigh. You know what I'm saying? We used to grow up shouting out Raleigh, Raleigh, no matter where you was at. Is there's a certain pride when you come up in the city. Talk to me about the idea of like Raleigh. You think about what home means for you. What does that all kind of bring up, Brody?
That's everything, man. It's your foundation. You know, just like Raleigh is big. It's a big little town. Let's put it that way. So I mean, once you've been around for a good little bit, you know what I'm saying, maneuvered in certain spaces or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you kind of get, you know what I'm saying, connected to a lot of people or whatever the case may be. So I mean, like, if we wanna kind of like
talk about it,
if we want to pop that shit a little bit, you know what I'm saying, like we could. You know what I'm saying, we could point at people that's in the NBA. We could point at people that's on Showtime, like big hit shows or whatever. That's all from the city. You know what I'm saying. And I mean, if we want to flex a little bit more, just because we went to Southeast Raleigh High, you know what I'm saying, like they came up out of there. So it's just like, you know, it's a different sense of pride or whatever, and it's almost like a standard to live up to almost, you know, whatever your field is, even if you're not like in the public eye or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you just excel at something. Whatever you find that you're good at, you know what I'm saying, it's just like, yo, you got to be good at it, you know what I'm saying, you got to stick to it. Even if like people don't know who you are or like what you do, it's just like the whole goal is, you know what I'm saying, just to be successful at it or whatever. So it's a different type of pride, you know what I'm saying, like when you run into people, out in LA or whatever, they'll be like, yo, I'm from Raleigh. I'm like, oh, what? We out here. I'm like, bro, I remember when Raleigh used to be, people used to talk down on us. And like, we out here, bro. So like, it's amazing feeling, bro. Like just seeing people thriving and they from the city and just, they shouted out every opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Bro. It's nothing like it. Like it's a beautiful feeling. I mean, people probably feel the same way. Like, you know, people up top, New York or whatever the case may be, you know, they from Brooklyn, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. It's the same sense of pride, bro. It's just so, home is everything. It's your foundation. You know what I'm saying? It's just something to build on.
And, you know, like, I think it's a little bit special, too. Like, going to Raleigh's a special place, but then, like, you talk about Southeast Raleigh and what that high school bred. Like, you know what I'm saying? We used to be, you know, we were in, a lot of people that was there during our era. And I mean, I'm sure every era of Southeast was great, but, like, I think we had a special time when we was there. Absolutely. And, like, a lot of people joke and say, like, if you went to Southeast Raleigh High, you was prepared for college because Southeast almost felt like a college. Like, the kind of like, you couldn't come to Southeast half stepping on a drip. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to have a certain energy to move, you know what I'm saying? And, like, I think that kind of, like, bravado that was, like, born in the East played dividends for homies as we got into college because we already knew how to move in those kind of spaces and things like that. And it is crazy to see so many people succeed in so many different areas of aspects of life. And that's part of the city, man. I'll tell one quick story. Coming up in the R, I had never been to Charlotte. Never visited Charlotte in my life until I got to college. I got to college at Carolina, and you know, a lot of Charlotte kids there as well. And Charlotte kids, you know, again, I came in talking that Raleigh talk, and a lot of Charlotte kids would be looking at me like, get out of here, man. Raleigh ain't nothing. Charlotte is Charlotte. And I'll be like, yeah, whatever. Again, I never been to Charlotte. I knew I had the sports teams, but I never really knew what it looked like. So I'm talking down like, Charlotte ain't nothing. Charlotte ain't nothing. First time I get to Charlotte, maybe sometime my first year in college, I dropped to Charlotte, and I'm looking around like, I didn't know what, you know, I'm talking about Charlotte as if it's like, you ain't got nothing on Raleigh. Thinking just because I got that Raleigh pride, I see Charlotte, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I didn't even know. But that just says, like, Raleigh, when you from here, can't nobody, you could meet somebody from New York, LA, they can't tell you now. You're going to talk that time, you're going to pop that, you know what I'm saying, no matter what. And I thank Raleigh for that, like, you know, that level of bravado, authenticity that we just speak with, that we just move with. Because, you know, I don't know, like, I'm sure people from elsewhere kind of feel the same way, but, like, you from the R, man, you know, it's the city. Raleigh be the city, man. That's what them boys say.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt, man. All right, man. So, you know what people here, John, I'm looking at you today, man. I see you. You know what I'm saying? Super clean ball. But again, I knew you before this. I knew you before this happened. You knew me before this happened. You know what I'm saying? So let's take it back a little bit, man. I want to talk about, like, middle school, high school. What kind of hair you had growing up? You know what I'm saying? Did you have a wave? Did you have a braids at one point? Talk us through that kind of hair journey. What did your hair mean to you during that time? And let's kind of walk through until we get to the point when something kind of went wrong. Yeah.
So middle school, yes, I always had the brush cut or whatever. You know, so I always wanted braids, but moms wasn't having it. She just like, you're not about to go through that rough stage where, you know, you're not looking like my child. So I had to, you know what I'm saying, keep it low. I always kept the low cut or whatever, you know, had waves or whatever, you know. If you had waves back in, like, our middle school days, you know, said the age we at, you know, say, you know about Murray's, you know about the sporting waves can or whatever, you know. It's probably some folks out there right now that still got a Murray's can. They ain't finished. You know what I'm saying? Like, to this very day. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? You put that Murray's in, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Warm the water up. You know what I'm saying? Lay it down. Put that do-rag on tight. You know what I'm saying? To the line. You know what I'm saying? Damn near ingrained in your skin. Like, hold on, man. Yeah. So that's how y'all know my boy is talking that talk from, like, real life. Because what he's preaching right now, it's like a lot of homies is going to resonate with this right now. Because you talking about, he mentioned that line. It's been a minute for me, right? I haven't worn a do-rag in so long. But I still kept my do-rag.
Vivid memory of taking that joint off and the line being right here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You getting to school, you know, so you coming off the bus, I'm gonna make sure my joint's straight. You taking it off, the line still tucked in your forehead, so like you trying to rub it out, you know what I'm saying? The whole, you trying to do whatever you can to get that do-rag line out. But that was just like a staple moment. It's like, all right, my man, you know what I'm saying, he came in with the do-rag on. Okay, I see what type of time, you know. So that was like, I would have said that was like, you know, saying like a symbol or whatever, but you know, it came with the territory, so that's how it was, you know, just coming up in middle school and high school, just always keeping the do-rag on you, you know what I'm saying, you keep brushing the back pocket, you know what I'm saying, I remember like, when we started it or whatever, you know, so you had a brush with the handle, then, you know, got to high school, you stopped messing with the brush with the handle, you had just the brush that fit in the palm of your hand, so you boom, so like, it was always somewhere within reach or whatever, so that was just like.
Jed, I gotta stop you again, because like, this is great, man, because I'm crying right now, because like, again, we came up in the same city, same time. So like, I mean, Judd is telling my story right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can tell Judd's story because we were again same schools and everything. But like, I get a lot of guys on the podcast, and I'll talk to them about exactly what we're talking about. But like, the details you're giving right now, dog. Yeah. The details you're able to give, talking about the transition from the brush with the handle to the transition with the brush no handle, you easily slip in your pocket. Like those are details that only, I'm not gonna say only a Raleigh hair would know, but only somebody that was serious about the wave game would really know, man. Like, wow.
You sitting there minding your business, like you could just be watching TV and you just ain't doing that. You just sitting there brushing for no reason. Like, why you sitting there just brushing? You know, gotta train it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, you know, just trying to get it right. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Just whatever. So it was all a part of the experience, man, from like middle school to high school on into college or whatever. So it's just
yeah. For sure, man. Keep walking me. So, but you made it. Obviously, I know, but for the people, you made it all through high school, still rocking with the hair. You know what I'm saying? Yep. You got to college. Tell me about college. Did you stay with the wave? Did you switch it up at all? What was that like? And did your routine get even crazier? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so when I got to college, I was still, you know what I'm saying, sticking with the waves and the do-rag routine, you know, still keeping it, you know, somewhere within arm's reach. I started, you know what I'm saying, like, I used to just get, like, you know, the even haircut all over. You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy, but, you know, got to college. And I got a new barber. I'll never forget. I had a job at the time at the mall, at South Point Mall. And he popped in or whatever. He was like, hey, man, you know, you got a barber or whatever? I was like, yeah, you know, I go back home or whatever. He was like, well, you know, I'm a barber up here in Durham. You know, I come through, I'll take care of you. So that ended up being my barber for like 10, 11 years or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? He got me right. He was like, man, you should try like a tape fade or whatever. So I started rocking with the tape fade. I'm like, all right, I like it. I was like, man, you know, let me take it up a little bit higher. So it almost got to like a Boosie-esque level, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't go full out military cut, but, you know, I started messing with the fade and stuff. But, you know, still had the do-rag on me, you know what I'm saying? Still, you know what I'm saying, brushing through. So I made it through college, you know what I'm saying, with everything. And then
before we get to post-college, let's talk about college, man. Like, because we talked about earlier before we turned the mic on that, like, yo, college is some of your formative years, right? When you really finding who you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get through college. We were blessed to go to a college that I think helped us maybe find out a little bit earlier, but college still was a special part. Tell me about, like, you know, Asher in college, getting the tape fade. So, like, you know what I'm saying? When I was in school, bro, every Thursday I was in the shop. Every single Thursday I was in the shop. Matter of fact, one of my homegirls used to accompany me to the shop because she just knew how important that cut was to me. Like, she knew I was going to be there. She used to pull up just to sit there and wild with me. And I grew up going to Southgate, you know, going to the barbershop at Southgate. Me and my homies, we pull up to the shop on Saturday mornings and we'll kick game and laugh for 3 hours in the shop. You know what I'm saying? So the barbershop experience was a major part of it. But in college, man, like, you know, as you're coming into, man, you really starting to get in your bag. You really starting to dress. Like, tell me what it meant for you to have that fresh cut and like how that fresh cut feeling when you popped out on the scene. Like, what was that like? Because I knew it's something different in college when you know the shorty's just checking for you. You know, okay, you like, okay, cool. Like, I'm on campus. It's a lot of competition, but I'm gonna make sure I stand out. I'm gonna be that guy. What did it feel like when you used to come out with the fresh cut?
It completed everything because, I mean, you could have, you know what I'm saying, like, for lack of a better term, you could have that shit on and feel good about it, but like that cut just, it brings it all full circle, man. So it's just like, when you get out the chair, you just know it's a different feeling or whatever. Like, you know, so I notice like little stuff or whatever now, like when you just do little stuff for yourself to make you feel better, like self-care, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you get up out that chair, like the way you go into the barbershop, you come out totally different. You go in, you be like, what's good, bro? You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da, do this, black and the third. You pass that mirror around or whatever, you look, and you like, woo, you like, all right, I stand up, you know what I'm saying? I feel a little bit better, you know what I'm saying? Like, you smile, you feel different.
Yeah.
So, like, that fresh cut completed everything, man. You could, having that shit on don't mean nothing. You ain't got that cut, man. Just play, point blank, you know what I'm saying? Just, even like, you know what I'm saying, like with the attention from women, or just be like around your homies, you just, it just felt great. And then like, oh Lord, don't have the whole crew with a fresh cut. Well, you start feeling like Transformers. Oh my goodness. Like, you be like, what it takes? Hey, we gotta go somewhere where they could see us. Like, it's just a must. Like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just go to a bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to go somewhere, go stand on the couch. It don't matter. Like, we just need to be somewhere other than the crib.
Yeah.
Because it's cut and it's fit together. I can't waste this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So, my routine was every 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying, to get a cut. Most of the time, either be like Thursday or like sometimes I push it and do it like on Friday. Like, I do it early Friday because I know we're going to go out Friday night or whatever. So, you know, every 2 weeks. And I kept that routine, you know, so all the way up until, you know, so I decided that, you know, hey, no more.
Okay. Okay. So let's get into that, man. You get through college. You back in Raleigh for a while, right?
Yeah. I'm just back home visiting family.
Back. Okay, and no. So tell me about like that transition from like post college, after college, and like when you kind of really notice something was going on.
Yeah. So I think my barber hit it real well for a long time because I never knew it or whatever. And then he started actually like talking me through. He was like, hey man, you starting to like thin a little bit here, so just I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. So I'm like, all right, cool. And then
so hold time. He says this to you, because again, I guess you didn't notice it, right? He points it out. He says it to you. Is there like a feeling of like, like, or you like
a little bit? Because you know what I'm saying, like it wasn't like it was visible, but it wasn't like it wasn't super crazy. Where it was like, yo, it's nothing left in these corners. Like, why you hanging on? So like he was just like, just over time or whatever. He's I could do a little something. You know what I'm saying, help you out, but at some point or another, it's coming. So I was like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying. So I just kept it in the back of my mind, and then it took a minute, you know what I'm saying, to adjust, but I'll never forget the day I realized that, like, yo, it's getting real, was when my barber ain't tell me he was using a little fiber joint or whatever, you know what I'm saying. And you know what I'm saying, after you get a haircut, naturally you go take a shower, you know what I'm saying, wash your hair real good. And I went there and I washed that joint, and that stuff, I was like, what is this black stuff running? I said, oh, no. So that was a defining moment. I was just like, God, Tomati, I'm really on the clock now. Like this shit running out my head. Yeah, I said I didn't even know I knew he did something. I just didn't know what he did or whatever. But man, that was a very eye-opening moment. And I'm just at the crib like, bro, I done messed up my cut. It don't even look the same now. I done washed that shit out. So it was just, it was one of those things where I kind of like had to slow walk through it or whatever. And if you want to go into like the part where like I realized it was just time to completely
Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, so like when I realized it was time to completely go.
Well, actually, before we get there, I do have a few more questions. So, you watch the topic, so many different things. People see the Beijing get used, the topic 5 get used.
That
so many
Beijing
things.
Is crazy. Beijing is crazy.
I did a Beijing before. I can't even knock it. Like I did Beijing before.
Bro.
It is crazy though. Like y'all know what the Beijing is. If you're not, I might put a link below for what the Beijing is. But
they know.
They know.
Even if y'all don't know personally, y'all got somebody. Y'all got a homie or uncle or somebody that's still hanging on to something.
And some of them celebrities too. Some of them celebrities be trying to get y'all.
Like I don't want to call no names because he's one of my favorite actors. You know what I'm saying? Like he's super talented, well ranged. Like if I say the name, you gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's just like, hey man, it ain't bad, bro. Yeah. Just let go and let God. That's all you gotta do. Like you got the money and success. Just bro, it's okay. You be like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? You bald or whatever. It's like cool. I'm sitting on some racks too, but like, you know what I'm saying? That makes you sleep better at night, yo, bro. Just let it go. Like,
yo. Okay, so you peep it. It's washing out, which I know is a crazy feeling. Just before you like get to the point where you're like, okay, like something got to change. Did you consider doing anything to like try to like save it? Right. For instance, like when I was losing my, I tried Rogaine. It didn't work for me, unfortunately. There's another FDA approved drug that the doctor mentioned to me, but she was like, yo, you could try this, but FYI, it could deal with erectile dysfunction. You could get reduced sex drive, all that. And, the math ain't really adding up right there.
Right, it ain't worth the risk.
Math ain't mathing.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So obviously I don't decide to go that route. But I try I'm just Googling and try some herbal shampoos. I'm trying like these vitamins. Ultimately, nothing worked for me. But did you go through that process of thinking like, can I find anything to try to stop this?
Yeah, I looked for a couple alternatives, and crazy thing is I started following this guy on Instagram. He talks about trying to like prevent hair loss or whatever, doing it naturally or whatever. So I bought a derma roller or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I got like some organic, like you said, shampoo, conditioner, the little oil and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. I remember the first month or two I was doing it with the derma roller. Then I put like that oil in it, and it had like peppermint, and so all that other stuff, tea tree oil, all that stuff. So like you feel it tingling. It's like, oh, that's got to be my shit growing back. I feel it. Like, oh, I know this working. I ain't gonna look at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just give it. I'm gonna give it about a month or two. I know that one day I'm gonna take that do rag off. That shit gonna be back. Man, like nah.
Say it was cap.
Nah, it was cap.
Say it was cap.
It made my scalp feel good or whatever, but like. I felt like my shit was growing right before my eyes. I did the drum roll and I boom, 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 put a do-rag on. I'm sitting here like my head is sizzling. I'm like, yeah.
They put that fertilizer in.
Yeah, you feel me? I'm like, oh, she coming back. I ain't have to do none of that crazy stuff these folks be talking about. Man, no. So, you know, I like, you know, at that point I knew it was like, I wasn't going to go the route of like, you know, trying to use some like the supplements and stuff like you mentioned or whatever. I was just like you said, the math won't adding up. It's not worth it. So I was just like, I was just, so at that point I just started getting my hair cut lower. Like keep it low. I was like, it's like the thicker you let it get, the more those imperfections gonna show or whatever. And so I started getting it super low, and that leveled it out for a good while. Like I lasted for like a year and a half off of that, you know what I'm saying, before I had to like, you know what I'm saying, fully decide to let it go. But yeah, man, I tried a little bit or whatever, but I wasn't willing to step out there and, you know, go all the way with supplements and stuff.
How bad did it get, bro? Before you was like how bad did it get for you? Because for me, I was missing. Like my roof was basically missing, right? It was bad. And to your point, I won't forget it because you just said like the thicker you let it grow, the more it shows. And like when I first realized it, I was actually trying to rock this like we used to call them the curls, but like, you know, little like curls like this big. So my hair was like growing out everywhere it could actually grow. Right. So my hairline was actually fine. So like I had the curls all around here, but I had this crazy patch right here, but that I didn't know, right? I can't see it.
Right.
Like you look in the mirror, if your hairline solid, you can't see this in the mirror. So I'm thinking I was good. And when I ended up seeing a picture, again, my joint was growing out pretty thick. Boy, like it was so bad. Cause again, it was so thick everywhere else. So bad right here, man. And but like how bad did it get for you?
So I was losing on both fronts.
Okay.
The corners was going crazy and the crown was dipping on me. So I'm like, all right, if it was just the crown, I could work with it. I could just keep it cut super low. But when them corners start going in the front, that's your presentation. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the first thing you see. You be like, yeah, I just got a cut. And you be looking like your joint back here. You be like, hey man, like, yeah, you just got a cut, but this shit out of here.
You might need to go back and get another.
Yeah, I like you might need to just, you know what I'm saying, take the top all the way off, you know what I'm saying, take the top down for the winter. And so I'm just like, once I realized I was losing on both fronts, I was like, bro, there's nothing I can do. I'm gonna have to get ready to have the baldy. Yeah. There's just no way around it. And I ain't no knock to anybody that do it, but I was just like, I couldn't step out there and do like the hairpiece joint. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I know folks that did it, and I'm just like, all right, cool, but like looking at my pictures, like if you look back in your old pictures of the gram or whatever, it was like my shit was never perfect. You know what I'm saying? My shit was presentable. It worked just fine for me, but it was never perfect. And I was like, that's the problem. It's like you start posting them Throwback Thursday pictures, you'd be like, all right, my joint was straight. And then you post present day after you done had the little surgery or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Now your shit like pristine. You know what I'm saying? Like on some Jason Tatum shit, and it's like, son, man, nah, brother. So it's just like I couldn't. For me, I was like, I couldn't do that. So I was just like, yeah, bro. Once I realized both was leaving, I was just like, yeah, time's coming.
So, bro, because I know you said your pop. You know what I'm saying? You already seen it. You knew what that look was gonna be like. Before we get to that though, like you start losing it. Are people outside of you, you know, your friends? Are people giving jokes? Because I got. Dog, the homie, come home, like, I got it 24/7. Yeah. Were you getting those jokes, and how were you able to like take them? Because like on my side, like you know, these are your guys. We talk. That's what we do. Coming up in the East, we talk trash all the time. Yeah. So I never felt like, you know, my boys were really trying to be like really means what we do. But because I ain't gonna lie, because I was actually dealing with some confidence issues with it. Like those jokes stung more than any other jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this is. You know, again, we come up in a very similar area, so we know what it's like to feel like I'm that guy. We know what it's like to be in that bag. But my hair loss was the first time I ever felt like some kind of sense of like I'm lacking. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm losing my confidence. Like I'm wearing hats. I'm trying to hide everything. And it was like I think what you just said, man, it was perfect because you said like, you know, when you grow it too much and it's too thick, all your insecurities show. So. What I did, I tried to overcompensate a little bit, right? So I'm trying to like give off a different energy because because I know I'm lacking elsewhere, right? Right. And like I always tell people, what ends up happening is when people can tell fake. You know what I'm saying? Like people, you can't, you the real you can see the real, but the fake is so easy to spot. So I know people can probably be like, yo, Ken, you acting different. Like there's something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because I was trying to overcompensate for like something I was lacking. Yeah. And so I love that you said that because like the more you try to like hide something or be inauthentic about it, the more people can see it.
Yep.
right? So, but talk to me about like the homies, the reaction from people while you're losing it. What was that like?
So, the crazy thing is I got it the worst from like my mom, and just like I always, my family's always super joking or whatever. So like I've always been the homie that has a joke in the back pocket no matter what. Like I don't know why. It's probably attributed to Southeast because we always used to, crack jokes on each other, to no end. And so every time I walked in the room or whatever, like during that phase when you start feeling that insecurity because it's leaving, it's just like, all right, I got a joke in my pocket for you just in case you come out of pocket. You like, I already, I always have something tucked no matter what the case is. Even if I never use it, just like, I got it just in case you got a joke because I know I was like, you hit me where my hairline is, like, I got to get it back in blood. I got to or whatever. Like, I ain't going to go personal or whatever, but just know I have one ready for you. So my homies just said they would joke here and there or whatever. It was never crazy. Like I said, because I was just always the one that had jokes or whatever. So it was never super crazy, but my mom used to give it to me raw. She was like, boy, you know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the one time she came by. I was sitting at the crib just chilling. She came by. Like I told you, my crown was leaving me like real bad. She came by and like took her finger. Her hands were cold. She just came in from outside and she put it right on my crown. And it's like, it's a different feeling when somebody put their cold hands on bare skin versus like I touch any other part of my head where hair is. And I'm like, you feel it a little bit, but it'll be crazy. When she touched it, it was just like somebody put a piece of ice on my jaw. I was like, oh.
Or for the shiver.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, this is bad. She's like, you feel how cold my hand was? I said, yeah, I don't. And I started, every so often, you just be like, damn, that's crazy. Like,
I know, bro?
Yeah, so like, I used to get it raw from my mom. She used to go crazy, and then like my fiance, she made one joke that I just could never recover from, and it hurt me bad. She was like, all right, now you starting to look like Deacon Judd. And I said, you know what I'm saying? Like she kind of funny. She had her moments where that was probably some of her best work. When she said that, she was like, I can't be walking around here dating Deacon Judd. You know what I'm saying? You in your early 30s, and I'm like, ooh, you. Oh. And I was just like, so I just had to walk up and take it. I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
You be sitting there in the bathroom, you be like, oh, shorty just took my damn soul. Like, do you really love me? How you gonna slide on me like that? Just tell me, baby, come home. Just tell me, come. Don't do me like that. I thought this was a safe space. Yeah, she told my ass up with that one. At that moment, I was just like, yeah, all right. So I was psyching myself out for like a better part of like 2 months where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I go to the barbershop and I'll be like, nah, fuck it, I'll do it next time or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, she said that Deacon Judd shit one too many times and it stuck, man. That was the best work somebody ever gave me, you know what I'm saying? Like with a joke tip, bro. There was no way to recover from that. Even now, shit's in the old picture every now and then. She was like, look at you, looking crazy. I just be like, hey, come on. We ain't gotta talk about the old shit. Like,
it's crazy.
I like you led me to the water to tell me, hey, it's time to really let it go. So thank you, but
leave that.
Yeah, I like that. Don't keep beating on me. Like I was still getting settled into. So I'm just like, just ease into it.
Oh man. So mom's giving you jokes. You know what I mean? Both of the biggest women in your life at this point on your head top about it. So like you said, it sounds like they were a big part of what made you finally take the leap. Yeah. Tell me about like what led you to that decision finally. Like you said, you pump faked a few times. What was it that made you say, today is the day, and then walk me through that day, dog?
So we was about to go to LA for my birthday. And I was just like, man, like, you know what I'm saying, 32, you know what I'm saying, like, something different. Let's just try something different, whatever. We stepping out there. I'm doing a whole bunch of new things. Like, just got engaged, you know what I'm saying. We just bought our first house together. All these new experiences. So I was like, man, let me just keep operating in that same sense or whatever. So I'm just lean into it. So went to the shop. I was like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna just cut it all the way off. I was like, first thing I told him, I was like, hey man, just give me the Kobe Bryant, Tyler Perry. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut it as low as you can, but you know what I'm saying, don't scalp me, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he cut it as low as possible, and he showed me the mirror. I was just like, man, just take that shit off, bro. Yeah. Like, I had to get mad at myself or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like you be lifting, you just be like, man, I gotta do this. You be like, man, fuck. So I was like, man, just go ahead and take that shit off, bro. Don't show it to me no more until you finish. So he went ahead, he did it, boom, boom, boom. I like that. That shit felt so different, you know what I'm saying? He hit the electric razor, boom, 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 went across it with the blade. You start, even like the AC in there start feeling different. I'm like, ooh, my shit gotta look like an egg, boy. Like everything felt like your senses go up crazy. You just like, what is up with it? And so sat up, passed me the mirror. I'm like, all right, And, you know what I'm saying? Everybody like, yo, man, that joint look good on you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if these niggas was lying, 'cause I don't know them or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But they're like, nah, bro, like, nah, he really did this thing. Like, yo, like, it's a good fit on you. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate it. But I'm not comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's completely new. So I ride back. I'm riding back to the crib. And I drop the windows or whatever. Bro, it was still summertime or whatever. Yeah, it was because it was like right before Labor Day weekend. So, you know, it was still a little hot out. But, you know, like, it felt like I ain't had no damn head.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was like, it just felt different. I'm like, oh, man. So I go home. You know what I'm saying? She like, oh, my God, you look good, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, I'm still kind of mad about it. 'Cause I'm just like, I ain't ready to pop out with this baldy, man. You know what I'm saying? So
let me stop you here, bro, because, like, I think this is something we got to talk about, too. Like, guys will come home, make that change, and that's one part of it, the actual action.
Yep.
There's a whole another part of it that's about, like, what it really means to actually step into it.
Yeah, that acceptance.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, so talk to me about that, bro, because you're talking to me about that.
Yeah. So just, like, the whole part of, like, accepting it was just like, all right, like, I absolutely, like, despised it for, like, the first 2 times I, like, got it cut. You know what I'm saying? Kept getting it cut, you know what I'm saying, all the way off. And, you know, everybody, you know what I'm saying, around me was like, yo, like, nah, for real, bro, like, you know what I'm saying, like, it works for you, you know what I'm saying, like, be grateful you ain't got no eyes, shake head, and, you know, all that stuff, like, yo, like, it fits you or whatever, you know what I'm saying, so I'm like, all right, cool, so I started leaning into it a little bit more, and then, when I got to the crib, the first part that stung the most or whatever, you know, so I went and took a shower, you know what I'm saying, it was just like, water was just rolling off my head. It was like I got in the shower, my hair was already dry before anything else. I'm like, oh shit, like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I had to accept that, and then I went under the sink, do my usual routine, get ready, you know what I'm saying, like pick out the beard, moisturize, got ready, and I reached for my fucking brush. My brush and my do-rag sitting right there. Man, that joint was so painful. I just sat there, she was like, what's wrong? Why you just standing there looking at the sink? I'm just looking at my do-rag, looking at what was. So, like, the do-rag's still under the sink, like, for nostalgia's sake. So, I had this, and I was like, I'm never going to have to wear this motherfucker again. And I'm like, this is crazy. That night sleeping, I always sleep with the fan on. That air was so damn cold, I about had to put a beanie on, you know what I'm saying, just to sleep. I'm like, damn. I'm like, all this new stuff, man, I'm just not used to it, bro. It's just like, it took a good bit, but, you know, once I, like, leaned into it, and I'm like, all right, it's cool or whatever, ain't no big deal, you know what I'm saying, like, and, like, the part that made it work for me is, like, my dad, I think he said he cut his off, like, in his mid to late 20s. I'm like, all right, I done made it 31, almost 32 years, so I'm like, you know, can hang my hat on that. I'm still getting a little jealous when I be seeing motherfuckers running around. I'm like, nigga, you got a perfect hairline, you just like, that's what's up, bro. Like, but I be like, man, you just wasting it, bro. Just be doing that wild shit over there. I just be like, man, you just so wasteful, bro. You just don't know what I would give to get that. But it's okay. So, like, the acceptance piece of it, you know, like I said, just had to lean into it and find that certain level of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, even, like, I start taking more pictures. I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I started to feel good about it. So, like, even, like, now, like, ain't no feeling like, you know what I'm saying, that fresh shave, bro. Like, it is a top tier feeling. Like, I shaved before I came in here, man. I'm just like, yo, this, all right, I feel good. Because when that stubble come back in, it gets annoying or whatever. It just, you know what I'm saying, feel like cactus, like, you don't like it. But, like, now when that joint goes smooth and your hand go across, it don't make no sound. You be like, ooh, I'm ready for whatever now. Like,
so let's talk about that, too, bro, because, like, first half of this, we talked about that fresh cut feeling. Right? We talked about pull up to the barbershop, you leaving a different man, right? And when you come home, sometimes you're like, dang, like, I don't know if I'll ever get that feeling again. I don't know if I ever know what that's like again. I get guys on the podcast, and guys talk about that fresh ball feeling. Like, it's like it's just up there, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that, too.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just me that felt that way. Because, like, but the thing about it, Judd, it's like, you can't get that fresh ball, same feeling, until you've accepted it, right?
Yeah,
like, if you're still, like, fighting that ball, you still wearing hats.
you ain't going to never feel comfortable.
You can't feel comfortable. But once you get in your bag with it, again, it's when you step out with it, that same fresh cut feeling. Because you know the level of confidence. Even me now, bro, like, it's funny because, you know, I'm shorties all the time and be like, oh, I can never imagine you with hair. You look so good bald. And I always stop them, like, stop playing with me. I was a dog when I had hair, too. don't ever do me like that. Don't ever do me like that. First off, stamp. Don't ever do me like that. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's a real feeling, man. That's that, and I think it comes down, we're a little bit older now, so that personal care, that self-care is a thing of itself, because we didn't, you know, to be real, we didn't take care of our bodies as well as a kid. We was doing dumb stuff to our bodies, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? But now, like, I think there's this feeling of like maintaining yourself that's different. So that fresh ball feeling is something too, and I'm glad you brought that up because it is a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, man, I would say like just because I've accepted it, it's like it's equally as good as like getting a fresh fade or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Potentially, even, I would say even better just because it's the space I'm in now. So it's just like, all right, I'm fully accepted. Cool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like I ain't paying $30, $40, $50 every 2 weeks for a cut because man, like. Cut started getting outrageous or whatever. Like I remember when I moved to DC and my man's like my barber cool as ever, you know what I'm saying? I remember the first time he texted me, he was like, yeah, man, that's like that'd be 52. I'm like, shit, 52 and my shit leaving me? It's time to let it go. Like I'm like, yo, I go buy a little razor. I can cut that. I can touch this joint up every 2 days or whatever. It ain't costing me nothing like but the upfront cost of the razor. And then, you know what I'm saying, like to replace the blades over time. But I'm just like, so that's another perk of it, whatever, once I accept because I'm like, bro, I'm saving like, if I was still in DC, I would easily save probably upwards of $800-900 on cuts or whatever, you know what I'm saying? If I just cut my joint off when I first went to DC or whatever.
People don't talk enough about the cash savings, man. Don't talk, because let's get into this, Judd, man, because you already got into it, but I want to dive a little bit deeper too. Bro, when we came up, bro, cuts was $15. $20 if you're doing the best tip of all time.
For sure.
$20 if you're doing the best tip of all time. Just saying, man, we got the college, maybe it was 20
25.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like 30 at the absolute most.
30 if you're giving the best tip of all time.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, today, you're talking about $50 cuts, $70 cuts. I know guys who have sent me screenshots of barbers being like, oh, it's going to be $100. And they like, yo, okay, I'm gonna have to come. They send me, they outraged. They're like, yo, I might have to come home, Kenny. Yeah. $100 cuts. I don't know if it's inflation. I don't know what's happening.
Some of it don't even be including the beard too. It'd be like, oh, for the beard, an extra 10. I'm like, bro, this is the easiest part, bro. Cause I ain't lacking. So it's just like, bro, your job easy here. Like, why you hit me in the head for extra? And like, it's crazy. And it's no knock to barbers because like they gotta make a living just like everybody else. But boy, seeing the cost of those cuts over time or whatever, now I'm just like, you know what I'm saying, once I started like weighing the options, I'm just like, bro, I'm gonna save a boatload of money by just cutting this shit off, getting myself a razor cut. Like, bro, I ain't been to a shop. Like, when I got my joint cut off the first time, I've been to the shop 2 times to get it done or whatever. After that, I just cut it myself or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, shit, it ain't nothing. I've been like lining my beard up in between times, like whenever I be wolfing or whatever when I had hair. So I'm like, I got this part down, bro. It ain't nothing to me. But I was like, this, I just had to get used to it. I was just like, I'm not gonna use a regular traditional razor. I'm just get the electric one or whatever. So it's cool. So like, I done saved so much damn money and time. Like I missed the barbershop aspect or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Being there just shooting the shit or whatever. Because like that's a whole nother part of, you know what I'm saying, like when you got here, you just in there like even if you got appointments or like just you show up, you walk in or whatever, it's a whole experience that comes with it. But like now, shit, I pop up, you know what I'm saying, 6 a.m. Whatever, get my day going. It ain't nothing. Yeah. I ain't had to wait in line for nothing. All I do is just me. It's all just dependent on me. So I'm just like, I would prefer it that way.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah. Hey, barbers, man, I love y'all, man. So I got nothing but love for y'all. But something ain't right. Something ain't right. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it there because again, I don't got to deal with y'all like that no more. But something ain't right, But we gonna chop it up. Judd, I gotta get into something else here, bro. Like.
Okay.
And I'm excited to hear your answer on this. So, like, part of my job, bro, is to talk that talk football, man. So that's what I do all day, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just talk that talk for us, and I'm good at it. I'm damn good at it.
I remember early on when you started up, and I still have my hair. I was like, man, kid coming around me pushing this ball propaganda, kid going crazy with it. Like, come on, bro. Like, it can't be that great over there, man. Like, yes, I'm still like, my joint leaving me, but it hadn't left me crazy enough to be like, all right, Ken might be making some sense. I'm just like, man, Ken pushing that propaganda. Here you go. Come home. But nah, man, like it's yo. So I was like, whatever. I was like, I still share whatever because I'm gonna support my dog no matter what. I'm like, hey man, I never forget when you did the clubhouse rule. Did the clubhouse rule you was talking about? Yo, I didn't start making 6 figures till I went ball.
Yo, the homies are on my head that episode.
Oh man, that was a top tier time. Lord, if somebody has that audio and can bring that back, like, oh man, that would make for some great content. Cause Lord help me, that was the funniest day ever. I think it was the same day of the Gucci and Jeezy versus. Like it was. It was amazing, bro.
Oh boy, Jay, got me crying on this episode.
Before I had to get it out there, man.
Yo. So Judd, back to my question, because this is exactly where we need to go.
Yeah.
So like to your point, like I talk that talk and I push that propaganda. But for me, people call it propaganda, but like I'm on this side, I'm on this team, right? Yeah. You're on the team now. So when you join the team, you start to be like, oh damn, maybe Ken won't tripping. Mm-hmm. Right? You start to be like, nah, like he actually was up to something because like I feel what he was saying now. Mm-hmm. Right? So every time I have a guy up here, I'll be like, yo, man, like, personally, I feel like there's something in the water right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'll be looking around like, dang, homies is more bald homies out here than ever. And like, and I'm, and there's actually research that says bald men are perceived to be more dominant, more successful, more powerful, more et cetera. You got to think The Rock, the biggest actor in Hollywood, Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world, you know what I'm saying? But go back and forth with him and Elon Musk. Elon's supposed to be bald too. You got the whole transplant. So that's that too. Yeah. But like, there is this like sense of like power and confidence that comes with the bald look, right? And I'm out here saying like, yo, bald guys, we up right now, right? And I stand on it. I want to hear your take on this. Like, now that you're part of the team, do you feel like you're like, yo, like there's something going on, right? Is it a ball renaissance right now, John? Or am I just talking that talk? Talk to the people, man.
Nah, it definitely feels that way. I think it's much more visible because I identify with it now.
Yeah.
And so I remember like when I went to LA for my birthday after I just cut it off for the first time. The homie B. Wash was out there, you know what I'm saying? He done had his, joint chopped off for a good little minute. And so it was just funny looking around at the dynamic of the room or whatever, because like, my dad for the longest, you know what I'm saying, like when I was younger, he would be like, it would just be him and one of my uncles, you know what I'm saying, like, was bald or whatever, but like it would just be like a very small population of people. But like now, I never forget B. Wash was like, yo, man, like a lot of bald niggas, you know what I'm saying, kind of look alike. And it's a lot of them, or whatever. And like, so now when I'm out or whatever and I'm just sitting here just chilling, looking around, for probably like area like 3-4 dudes, you know what I'm saying, you see with a fade or just brush cut, whatever the case may be, it's about an equal amount, you know what I'm saying, dudes in there with the baldy or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like, be it our age, younger, older, whatever the case may be. So it's like, I think it's just a stage where like a lot of people are accepting of it or whatever, be it, you can't control your genetics or whatever, so you kind of just got to roll with it or whatever. And, if you got the resources to, like, restore your shit by any means, then that's amazing. But if you don't or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the best thing you could do is just lean into it. Because I like, bro, just, like you said, like, when you push your insecurities to the side or whatever, it just make them stand out more or whatever. So, like, it's just easier just to address it head on. And once you become confident, it's just like, bro, like, you be like, man, yo, boy, that shit, that joint don't bother me no more. I'm like, it's cool or whatever. I still got these jokes. And like, I still step into the room ready to fire anybody up at any given moment, especially more so now. And I'm like, hey, like, I draw the line there, you know what I'm saying, slapping the bald head, in which I understand it now because I used to do it to my dad when I was younger. Boy, he used to tear my ass up. Like, he used to throw them hands with me. And so, like, now I never forget my nephew did that joint the first time. He slapped my head. It's woo. It's a different type of feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see red. You be like, hey, come on now. You can't disrespect me like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, nah, man, it's just a whole thing of just accepting it, bro. So I think it's much more common and prevalent now, you know what I'm saying? Like, to speak to your platform or whatever, it's just like, it's a safe space for it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Make people feel comfortable. Like, yo, bro, you ain't the only one losing your shit or whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's much more visible now because, like, social media is a big thing or whatever. So it's easier to more or less come home. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you got a community or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows somebody bald or whatever the case may be. Whether they went, you know what I'm saying, they had to chop the top off early, later, whatever the case may be, or still holding on to nothing. But you know what I'm saying? It's, you know what I'm saying? You feel comfortable because you know people that's doing it or whatever. So you're not solo out here.
For sure, man. Y'all heard it here first, man. It's so many words. Just said, Kenny's not spitting propaganda. It's nothing but facts. Nah, it's so many words.
He talking. He talking that talk. It be animated, but hey, look. Hey, bro, it makes for good entertainment or whatever. You know, that's the best way to get through to people, you know what I'm saying, with the entertainment, bro. So it's just like, hey, you got to engage some way.
So just take a quick pause back to what Jess said earlier, man. If you're trying to get 6 figures, I know the key. I know the key to get y'all 6 figures. If you're struggling in that department, just holler at the dog. We'll talk offline. All right, Joe. Let's get to the back half of this thing, man. I got 4 final questions for you, brother, man. Okay. First question here is, we talked about it earlier, man. Like, guys, that's what, as ball homies, we don't really have the opportunity to switch up our hair. I can't decide I'm going to get the waves today, grow it out, get the flat top, get the Duke starting fire. I can't do none of that no more. So what I tend to do a lot is to throw on hats to switch up my style. That's really my only option. So as a ball guy, do you rock with hats? And if so, what's kind of your favorite hat?
Yeah, I rock with hats a lot more now because, like, when I had hair, it was just like after I get a fresh cut, it's like, there's no way I'm putting a hat on.
Never.
Bro, that defeats the purpose. I put a hat on when I'm woofing or, like, I ain't been to the shop. But, like, now, like, these, like, fisherman beanies, like, this is my go-to. I love these joints, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just immaculate. Like, I'd have bought a couple of hats. Like, I think I might have, like, 10 of these things just sitting at the crib. So that's my go-to. I lean into the hats a little bit more. And, I mean, naturally, like, you got to protect your head from the elements. It's a little different.
One thing about that people I don't think understand is, just tell me about the feeling. This actually might be the first. I got to ask more guys about this particular feeling. But, bro, when you put a beanie on, like, the level of warmth, like that level of warmth, it's like your whole body starts to feel like warm, right? Like, people are like, can you always got beanies on? Like, it's like I'm cuddling my head. I don't know. It's like a beanie cuddles your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't talk about that feeling. Like, it's just a level of warmth, bro. Like,
it's no different than, you know what I'm saying, like, when you know what I'm saying, you put on socks or whatever, you know what I'm saying, because, like, when your feet cold, it's hard for you to feel warm anywhere. It's like your feet, your hands, so your head is the same thing or whatever. And when you ain't got no hair protecting it, like, that beanie makes the world of difference. You be like, it ain't even pulled over your ears. I like, it ain't the point. Like, my ears ain't cold or whatever. Like, my ears don't impact me like that. I like, man, but, like, once that cold draft, like we had the other night, that 16-degree weather we talked about, that draft go across your bald head, you feel something go through your body where it's just like, oh, hell no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God talking to me, he like, man, if I don't put something on my head, he gonna call me home ASAP. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's necessary, bro. Like, it makes the world of a difference for sure.
100%. Second question here, man. I just mentioned a few guys, but there's a list of homies that came home before us that allowed us to rock like this. You know what I'm saying? I think about coming up, obviously you had Jordan, just so many guys that like showed us the way. So when you think about it, bro, like, 4 most iconic ball men, you like, yo, they did it first. What 4 would you put on that list?
I'll GP. I'll give it to Mike.
For sure.
Let's see. Iconic. Does it have to be like somebody publicly accepted or whatever? Okay.
Your 4, you be like,
okay, my 4. All right, bet. Mike, my pops.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? My pops, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Then I give it to Morris Chestnut.
Okay,
you know
no doubt.
Like, he crushing it, you know what I'm saying? And then 4th, man, 4th, you know what I'm saying, to be real or whatever, not to be cliche, I give it to you, bro, cause, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you leaned into it at, like, a early age, you know what I'm saying, when it wasn't the norm, and you didn't have a choice either or whatever, so the fact that you spun it in such a way, you know what I'm saying, where it's just like, you didn't create a whole community or whatever the case may be, it's just like, that's amazing in itself or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like, because you could have chopped the top off, you know what I'm saying, just kind of like kept quiet about it or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like you leaned into it, you know what I'm saying, you turned what was once an insecurity, you know what I'm saying, into a, you know what I'm saying, a strong point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, so that's like,
love.
That's
love.
I give you flowers for that for sure.
And I'll go back, because I'll take those flowers for sure, but I'll go back and I'll always say that, like, I was only able to do this because of how we came up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I take that insecurity, it can flip into this without coming up at the East, you know what I'm saying? Like, without being blessed with that kind of environment where like you had to know yourself, you learn yourself, but you're around so many like-minded people that's also learning them, and they pushing power into you, right? Like, the East, we joked on each other, whatever, but like, whoever's to your right, they gonna pull up to school with that heat on, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was bigging each other up at the end of the day, and we leave and go to so many different places, do so many great things, but we see each other now, it's like, oh, I see you. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. And I don't know if I get to this point without that kind of community. So I'll take those flowers, but again, I'll throw it back to the people who, you know what I'm saying, like, allowed it to grow like that, man. Yeah. 2 final questions, bro. 2 of my favorite ones here. One, we do this platform right now because, like, hopefully there's guys like, still dealing with hair. Well, I know there's guys still dealing with hair loss right now and probably dealing with some of the emotions we had to deal with to get to kind of where we at today. If you know somebody's watching this episode right now, bro, and they still struggling with hair loss, what's the best advice you could give them?
Man, I just, keep it simple, man. Do like the old folks, let go and let God, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really don't get no simpler than that. And, when you got good people in your corner or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, you know what I'm saying, gonna catch a joke here and there, whatever the case may be. But you know what I'm saying, you got good people in your corner that wants nothing but the best for you. You know what I'm saying, even if you don't see it or whatever, because it's just like, bro, I don't want to let go. You know what I'm saying, like it's all right to lean into something new or whatever. Because I mean, life is gonna be full of new experiences or whatever. You know what I'm saying, the only way you can like really, I guess, make a difference, you know what I'm saying, in your life is like to either lean into it. Because I mean, just pushing it to the side or whatever, you know what I'm saying, it's just gonna become a bigger issue. So just, you know, bro, just lean into it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let God guide you. You know what I'm saying? Cause like he taking that hair away for a reason. So like you fighting God's work. You know what I'm saying? Like your joint leaving. You know what I'm saying? It's like don't insult that, man. You know what I'm saying? Just come on.
Let go and let God. Let go and let God for sure.
Yeah, man.
Final question, man, dog, and like I love wrapping up with this question because it is a little bit deeper and it forces us to think, and it's a really good way to like kind of wrap up the conversation. So, bro, like I talked to you earlier about the name "Come Home." We know it from like the slang aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? You're losing that going "Come Home," but in the brand we spell it in French because in French it translates to English to me like a man or as a man. We grew up in a time where like a lot of the stimuli we got about being a man was very like focused on dominance. You know, not having any emotions. Having as many women as possible. Some of these things that now we look back on it like, dang, like, you know, was that the right way we were supposed to grow up? You know, whatever. We get older, find women in our lives, fiancés going towards marriage. Some of us start building families, etc. And we have to rethink about like what it really means to be a man. Yeah. So when you think about today in 2023, man, like what does manhood mean to you?
I think it's just, you know, for me, it's just, you know, leaning into new experiences and like just. There's something, you got to accept there's some things you can't change, you know what I'm saying, other things that you can. So, like, the things that are within your control, you know what I'm saying, you focus on that. What's not in your control, you know what I'm saying, you could have the reaction in the moment, accept it or whatever, you know what I'm saying, but, you know, you stressing over what you can't control, you know what I'm saying, just, it serves you no good or whatever. So, like, for me, the whole aspect of come home, which, you know, I didn't even know that was, you know what I'm saying, the meaning behind it in French or whatever. So, like, learning that, I mean, just leaning into manhood, it means you know what I'm saying? It just means, like, you know, accepting change. You know what I'm saying? Like, unlearning, you know what I'm saying, habits that we were taught, you know what I'm saying, coming up, you know, be it put more emphasis on, like, being more vocal about your, you know what I'm saying, your emotions, you know what I'm saying, as a man. Because, like you said, you know, you may have been taught, like, you know, just, like, yeah, all right, whatever, you know what I'm saying, keep quiet or whatever, deal with it internally or whatever, you know what I'm saying. And that really doesn't, some things, you know what I'm saying, you got to deal with internally and, like, self-reflect and all that stuff. But, you know, at the same time, it's okay to talk about it at the same time. And so that requires a level of vulnerability. And that being able to be vulnerable without, you know what I'm saying, like worrying about what may come of it or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like, bro, that is a freeing feeling. Like, it is nothing that can match that. So just, I would say, man, you know what I'm saying, my definition of man is just like, you know what I'm saying, vulnerability, man. Because, like, it's just, you get a lot more out of life where it's so much more fulfilling versus being closed off and be like, yeah, I ain't bothered. You be like, yo, it don't bother me or whatever. But really deep down, when you go home or whatever, you sitting there chilling like that shit eating at you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's better, you know what I'm saying, just be upfront. Like, yeah, that shit bothered me or rubbed me the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? But it's out there.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't no secret to you or nobody around you. So, like, that just, it makes for so much more genuine interactions, be it with your relationship, marriage, friends, family, or whatever, man. Just like that. If you have a safe space, you can be 100% vulnerable, man. It's a game changer, bro.
Yeah, man, like that level of vulnerability and like, you know, I actually never had therapy or none of that until the pandemic.
Yeah.
First it was hair loss, then it was pandemic. That my second time that I was like reflecting at like on a higher level than I'm used to.
Yeah.
And that was like some of the most vulnerable times for all of humanity, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like we all went through a ton during that time.
Yeah.
But like coming out of the pandemic and all that I went through during that time, to your point, it taught me that like, damn, like being able to talk about these things is like game changing, right? The friends that I had, because I was in school during the pandemic, so I had a whole new crop of friends at that time, you know, who didn't really know me from nothing, you know what I'm saying? So like we all went through this together. So the conversations we're having at that time as friends who just know each other for a couple of months are these vulnerable conversations because we needed to have those at the time. I'm around you people. We all going through this together. We got to talk about these kind of things. These are conversations I never had with some of my best friends. Because, you know, we came up not having those kind of conversations. Right. So I'm just now having these kind of conversations with new people in my life. But coming out of the pandemic, I felt so brand new, bro. I was like, dang, I feel refreshed. There's this level of like weight off of my shoulders because I'm learning to be able to like explain myself, talk about my emotions, really feel my emotions, right?
Yeah.
Allow myself to feel my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about that vulnerability thing, I think it's important, man, because I don't know life is hard in general, but like when you're able to like release and express some of these things, it makes it a little bit easier. So man, that's a great answer, bro. That's a great answer.
Yes, sir, man. Just to touch on the pandemic thing, I mean, like you said, man, it was something that everybody was going through. There was it was crazy. It was unprecedented times or whatever the case may be. So it's just like, it just made more sense to, be vulnerable and lean into it, man. Because, like, I mean, some people still ain't even, like, fully recovered from the pandemic, you know what I'm saying? Like, the shit they went through, like, emotionally or whatever. Because, like, if you used to being outside, whatever the case may be, and you stuck in the house, it's just like, yo, like, I'm missing a huge part of my life or whatever. Like, even talking about, like, just being in the club or just, like, being around your friends or, like, being around your people. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's different or whatever. And I think, the one, I guess, positive out of the pandemic is, like, it put a lot of shit in perspective. Because it's, like, you could have so much or whatever, but, man, that shit could be snatched away in a moment. So I think, like, that was very eye-opening for me. And, like you said, like, I went to therapy during the pandemic or whatever. And, like, that was, like, man, like, I thought it would be odd because, you know what I'm saying, just talking to a complete stranger, you know what I'm saying, about my feelings and emotions or whatever that I don't know from a can of paint. But I was like, man, that was kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Or whatever, because, they don't know your past or whatever. They only know what you tell them or whatever the case may be. And I felt like I went into it being as genuine as possible, you know what I'm saying, fully open to whatever feedback I could get from it. So, like, man, that was a game changer, bro. And I was just like, I had been saying I need to go to therapy and all that for a minute, but, I just, saying I didn't have, like, that reason or, like, something to grab hold of me, like, yo, like, you need to do this now or whatever. So, like, that was probably, like, the biggest perk of it all, bro. Just an eye-opening moment where it's just like, yo, everybody got something to lose or whatever. And it's just like, bro, it ain't gonna kill you to be vulnerable, bro. At absolute best, you gonna grow from it.
And honestly, it ain't gonna kill you, but it might keep you from death.
For sure.
Like, it might keep you from something else that could take you down the wrong path.
Absolutely.
So wow. Vulnerability, man. That's the word for this podcast for sure. This episode, vulnerability, man. Judd, it's been a beautiful podcast, man. By the way, Judd was running from the podcast for a while, gang. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I've been hitting Judd for about, I don't know, had to be, no, as soon as he came home, because, as soon as he came home, somebody shot me the pic. And I was like, yo, I got to get you on the podcast. But again, like we talked about, it takes a while to get used to the look, you know what I'm saying? When you're ready to come on the podcast, you can get on the podcast. And my dog finally came and joined me today. Judd, if anybody love this podcast, they want to catch you on social media, bro, how can they find you?
Man, you can catch me on social media at on Instagram, _Corey_Lamar. And same handle on Twitter. It's pretty much the only spaces I really be in like that on social. So, yeah, man, that's where you can catch me.
For sure. Judd, any final words to the people, man? Final words, man. Talk to them.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, this was super refreshing. I haven't had a conversation like this in a while, and it's funny, like, just the phase I'm in, just talking about vulnerability is still something I'm working through to this day. Yeah. And so, like, it's refreshing, you know what I'm saying, just to talk about this new experience I'm going through, because I'm only 3 months in, you know what I'm saying, on the ball journey or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and got a lifetime to go.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, just lean into that new thing, man. Like, it may feel uncomfortable for a little bit, but, man, once that shit become natural, like, you own it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? As long as you let your insecurities on you, man, you stifling your own growth. So, yeah, man.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
Judd, man, thank you for joining us again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
hey, man, first off, always love, bro.
Always
love,
absolutely.
Man, since day one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Yo, as I say at the end of every single episode, man, y'all stay bold, and we'll see y'all soon. Love.